Good morning, guys. I have a new read aloud for you. This book is called Iggy Peck, Architect, and it's by Andrea Beatty. This is the same author that wrote Rosie, Revere, Engineer, and Ada Twist Scientist. So as we read this book, keep an eye out. You're going to see Ada Twist Scientist and Rosie Revere Engineer in these books. So look out for those classmates and let's learn about what an architect does, because you know what? You guys are architects all the time and you might not even know it. Young Iggy Peck is an architect, and he has been since he was 2, when he built a great tower in only an hour with nothing but diapers and glue. Good gracious Ignatius, his mother exclaimed. That's the coolest thing I've ever seen. But her smile faded fast as a light wind blew past, and she realized those diapers weren't clean. Ugh. Ignatius, my son, what on earth have you done? That's disgusting and nasty. It stinks. Look at all the towers he built. Looks like his awesome tower here is built out of stinky diapers. You'll notice, though, that he's looking at a book, and the book has a picture of a tower. That's the Leaning Tower of Pisa. So he's using a book to help him figure out how to build this tower. What a great resource. But Iggy was gone. He was out on the lawn using dirt clods to build a great sphinx. When Iggy was 3, his parents could see his unusual passion would stay. He built churches and chapels from peaches and apples and temples from modeling clay. So his parents can see that he really just loves building and designing all these amazing structures out of fruit right now and clay. Isn't that amazing? At dinner one night, to his father's delight, Iggy got a bright gleam in his eye, and out on the porch built the St. Louis Arch from pancakes and coconut pie. Look at that arch. Do you guys recognize this shape? This is called an arch when you're building. It sort of looks like half a circle or half an egg. He's making his arch out of pancakes. Dear Ig had made it until 2nd grade when his teacher was Miss Lila Greer. On the very first day, she had this to say: "We do not talk of buildings in here." Gothic or Romanesque, I couldn't care less about buildings, ancient or new. She said in her lecture about architecture that it had no place in grade 2. Now look here, you can see Rosie Revere, an Ada Twist architect sitting, or Ada Twist scientist sitting here. He's not paying attention though, he's off building. What might seem severe, that might seem severe, but she was sincere, for when she was no more than 7, she'd had a great fright at a dizzying height in a building so tall it scraped heaven. On an architect's tour of the 95th floor, young Lila got lost from the group. Oh, so this is a story of why the teacher doesn't like architecture and buildings. When she was very little, she got lost way up high in a tall skyscraper. She was found 2 days later in a stuck elevator eating cheese with a French circus troupe. After that day, it's quite safe to say she thought all building lovers were nuts. As a teacher, she taught that above all one ought to avoid them, no ifs, ands, or buts. As you might guess, it would cause Iggy stress to hear such terrible talk, but he didn't hear. He sat in the rear while building a castle of chalk. Oh, so she's telling all this story about how architects are crazy and you shouldn't be an architect, but here he is being an architect building this magnificent castle out of chalk. You, Iggy Peck, your desk is a wreck. Tear down that castle right now. You will not build in here. Is that perfectly clear? Do you need to see Principal Howe? No, ma'am, Iggy said. He lowered his head and his heart sank down to the floor. With no chance to build, his interest was killed. Now second grade was a bore. After 12 long days that passed in a haze of reading, writing, and arithmetic, Miss Greer took the class to the Blue River Pass for a hike and an old-fashioned picnic. So let's see what happens. Iggy Peck has a problem. He loves being an architect. He loves building things and designing amazing buildings. But his teacher says he's not allowed to build in school. And he's not really enjoying school much. They crossed an old trestle to a small island nestled in the heart of a burbling stream. A trestle is a bridge here. But they no sooner passed than the footbridge collapsed and Miss Lila Greer started to scream. We're trapped here, oh my! Alas, kids, goodbye! Her eyeballs rolled back in her head. She dropped to the ground with a vague groaning sound, luckily fainted, not dead. Also, the bridge broke just as all the students got to this island for their picnic, and the teacher has fainted. Oh my. Who could save the day by designing a strong structure to help them get back across the river? The class was amazed. They stood there quite dazed, uncertain of what they should do. But one bright young man was off hatching a plan which started with Miss Lila's shoe. Soon, each lad and lass there at Blue River Pass was working together as one. And again, you can see Rosie there helping. And you can see Ada Twist there helping. And when she came to, Miss Lila Greer knew that something quite brave had been done. She looked in the air and saw hanging there a structure with cables and braces, and on the far side, beaming with pride, were 17 smiling young faces. Boots, tree roots and string, fruit roll-ups and things, some of which one should not mention, were stretched ridge to ridge in a glorious bridge dangling from shoestring suspension. So look at this amazing bridge that Iggy Peck designed. It all became clear to Miss Lila Greer as she crossed that bridge over the stream. There are worse things to do when you're in grade 2 than to spend your time building a dream. Now, every week at Blue River Creek Elementary in second grade, all the school kids can hear, along with Miss Greer, how the world's greatest buildings were made. The weekly guest speaker in t-shirt and sneakers talks of buildings from Rome to Quebec. Of course, he's the guy who builds towers from pies, that brilliant young man, Iggy Peck. So now he gets to share each week with the class all these amazing buildings. The end. So guys, we learned what an architect was, right? An architect is kind of like an engineer, kind of like a scientist. An architect designs and builds amazing structures. And does it just have to be buildings and towers? No, in this book, he designed a bridge. He built an arch out of pancakes and all sorts of things. So when you guys are building with your Legos and you're building with your blocks, you guys are actually being architects. You're designing structures. When you're using your recycled materials and you are inventing things to solve problems, you're engineers like Rosie Revere. And when you are using all of your senses to observe the world around you and learn, you're a scientist just like Ada Twist, especially in your Genius Hour projects. I can't wait to see what some of you little architects are building.